Welcome back, everybody. It's time to eliminate one of these Zerg players. This is Rogue versus Dark. I cannot believe I am saying that one of these guys is going to be knocked out this early on in the tournament. Of course, Dark, the last couple of years has looked to be one of the greatest Zergs of all time. Rogue was the greatest Zerg of all time before his military service. He has just now finished that up. Now he's back here in GSL. Looking pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, looking really good. Just qualifying for the GSL in and of its own in this smaller format with just 16 players in Korea is an accomplishment.
He even got like the post-military haircut where it's like he can finally start. Yeah, had short hair in the military and he can finally start to grow it out again.
I think of the actual shots they did before the season started, it was like even more of an obviously post-military haircut. Yeah, very endearing. But you can see how fresh he is out of military service coming back to the world of StarCraft 2. And already looking to be in really good shape. I mean, that game one that he played against Cure was phenomenal. Unfortunately, it seems like he hasn't quite ironed out the finer parts of ZVT just yet.
Yeah.
But luckily for him, Terran is out of this group. He needs to get through Dark, and he needs to get through Stats if he wants to advance to the round of 8. And I think it might be possible given the way he looked in his first match against Cure.
This is going to be a fun one. I could be cheesy, by the way.
Oh,
CBZ can be very cheesy. You don't have to go for kind of the macro style, and the cheeser can decide that.
And I almost feel like in this situation where it's Dark versus Rogue, Dark already one of these cheeky players that likes to bust out the cheese.
Yeah.
And a Rogue fresh out of military service. It seems like a recipe for some pretty short games.
It could be. It could be. I would be very open to a long, drawn-out ZVZ, kind of a macro style, but I feel like there's a little bit of cheese in the air. A little bit ches.
A little bit of smell, a little blue cheese tasteless here. Well, let's see if that comes out.
We'll see if it's blue cheese. It depends on what color each player is. We'll find that out in a second. Stay. Guys, this is the elimination match. Let's go.
All right. Rogue in the top right is the blue Zerg. Dark in the bottom left as the red Zerg here in the CBZ on post-youth of all maps. And I wonder what Rogue is feeling coming back from military service and playing his first CBZ offline on post-youth with the half-gold base of the main. Must be kind of funky. This is one of the newer and more unique maps that we've ever had in StarCraft 2's history.
Another great drawing.
Nothing but art here at GSL, man. A lot of talent. If you're scared of coming down to the studio.
It's like Rogue kissing the trophy, and then it's like an angry Dark holding a rock, ready to smash him over the head and take it.
Want to see
an Ultralisk?
It's an elephant. That's not an Ultralisk. What are you doing, man?
Ultralisk could be elephants.
We have good artists and bad artists here.
They're elephant inspired.
Oh no!
Well, we could have it. We could have it, man. We just have to see. By the way, no one's cheesy so far.
Yeah, in 5 or 10 years when RTS developers run out of ideas and we have the StarCraft 2 Age of Empire crossover episode, you're gonna have villagers hunting Ultralisk look like elephants trying to get their meat in the early game.
Primitive humans and primitive Zergs.
That would be fun, actually. I wouldn't mind that,
man. Creep.
That could be a lot of fun.
So they're both going to take that base inside of their base. I actually kind of forgot this was map 1 when we started because
that's a funky one.
Yeah, I was kind of ready for there to be a more standard map, or I don't know, like some Excite Delta or something to have these guys duke it out on.
Yeah, I don't really know how this is going to look in a ZVZ.
I feel like it's going to be very roachy if you have a gold base.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's also going to come down to whether you can take the follow-up gold base center of the map.
Funny maps where you get a gold base early on, it's kind of weird when it's a mirror matchup. Like in non-mirror matchups, I think it's subtly the games, the gold bases can define the game very quickly. But here it's like, well, I guess you're both going to have more minerals. And in my mind, that lead goes to roaches, but maybe it's like you just use those minerals and take another base somewhere else. I don't know.
I think you're right. This is, if I were to take a guess in this best of 3 series here on Post Youth, probably going to be the longest of the bunch, I would imagine. Just because of the architecture of the main base and how many minerals you're going to have here in the early game. Of course, only 6 patches, so eventually these guys will need to expand to his third base relatively quickly. In fact, Dark already throwing his down now. Meanwhile, Rogue and his main base going up into a lair. Same timing here as Dark, but also a very fast second gas. I like this, by the way. 2 queens here just being able to hunker down and hold the main base ramp. But it will be the 2-hatch Rogue against the 3-hatch Dark in a moment. So the way this is lining up, Rogue eventually should be the one that has to get something done. Let's start with an evolution chamber here at the natural ramp. The main base ramp, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
And both players going up to 4 gas at almost exactly the same timing. I guess it does make sense because you will be fully saturated on minerals at this stage in the game with only 6 patches of the natural, but it is funny to see Rogue just on 2 hatch and Dark going up to 3. And a Spire here for Dark. Spire on both sides. I kind of feel like this has to favor Dark, right?
Well, right now, Rogue is cranking out a lot of lings. He has not stopped. We're up to 18, 20. Now, well, how is this going to work?
He's not even going up to full mineral saturation.
So
in fact,
he just wants to basically, like, start to really hit him hard with this rush and then hit him with mutas right after that. That's all I gather from what I'm seeing.
I think that is all the game plan is, Taylor.
Yeah,
so I think you hit the nail on the head. As the ling speed now done and all these lings out on the map means that 26 lings can be flooding in. And actually, Dark taking this 3rd base might backfire. He's going to have to wall in his main base because Rogue has cut drones very heavily here to start things out. And I don't even think this 3rd base hatchery is going to be worth it when all is said and done. That's a lot of minerals and a drone down the drain. 3 evolution chambers going to have to be built here at the ramp to actually wall Dark in. I think you don't even cancel them. I think you let them build, and then eventually, if you want to re-expand, you just mine the minerals out on the other side. Here is Dark.
But and I mean, how good is this for Rogue? I feel like, okay, you stop the hatchery, but you also don't have a hatchery of your own. You're both going mutas. Air weapons is coming here for Rogue.
I still feel like this is maybe just a little bit better for Rogue, but it's very even despite that 3rd base going down.
Yeah, well, there's more drones right now for Dark, too.
This is so hard to call.
I've never quite casted a ZVZ like this. I'm sort of not sure what to make of it. He will see the Spire.
That's mirrored builds.
Yeah.
You will also see the drone count here at the natural expansion is just those six drones doubled up on the gold patches. So if this plays 2 hatch versus 2 hatch for an extended period of time, if Dark isn't actually able to stabilize and hold on to this 3rd base, this could favor Rogue in the long game just because he got more damage done in terms of actually killing stuff. And he's going to mine out slower than natural expansion too. But I wonder if that is the way it's going to go. It's hard to tell. With the defender's advantage in mutas, I feel like Dark should eventually be able to stabilize and take this 3rd base, right? I don't think Rogue can actually deny it.
Rogue might have a timing with his +1 attack when that finishes, but other than that, I'm not really sure. Oh, Dark has +1. We saw it for a second. I think it's a little bit behind.
It is a touch behind.
Yeah. It's kind of a funny game.
Yeah, I don't think Rogue is even going to try and take a 3rd anytime soon. I think he's just going to sit on this almost.
I think he wants to try to end the game coming up here. I think he basically wants to hit with the Muta air upgrade, have the lings kind of be overwhelmingly strong. He should be able to win both the air and the ground fight.
Yeah, he should on paper, but with the reinforcements coming in a little bit faster here for Dark, I wonder if that is going to be the way it plays out. We only have 3 queens on both sides, by the way, so transfuse is not going to be too many of them, as 2 of those queens have to just constantly be charging the hatcheries up with injects. The other one going to be spreading a little bit of creep, so maybe 1 or 2 transfuses at most, I would think, here for Dark on the defense. And here comes Rogue. He's ready to attack. He has double the lings, by the way, 58 to 26. Some quick mats for you. Is actually the mutas coming in. Nice connections here to start things out. And I love the focus fire on the mutas here from Rogue. Some really nice engagements. And even the lings getting on top of the queens at the ramp. This might just be the better engagement here for Rogue. Look at the army supply tasteless.
I mean, it's kind of insane. The mutas are continuing to take this fight. The lings are now going to spill over on top of the queens.
The micro here for Dark has been so good at the top of the ramp, though. Those mutas just pairing up. The lings are going to be able to flood in, but the muta micro was better here for Dark. How many drones are going to go down? That's just it. Rogue tapping out.
It's an odd game.
Yeah, a very peculiar match. I thought that at the beginning, Rogue just had the better engagement. The micros seemed a little bit better in terms of focus firing down.
Yeah.
The mutas to start things out, but when all is said and done and the dust settles.
It's just a very weird game. I don't think I've ever quite casted a game like that.
That was bizarre, and I'm also surprised that Rogue focused so much on just going into the main base there. I would have thought that he would instead pivot to the 3rd base and just denying that hatchery, because I feel like in a 2-base versus 2-base situation, Rogue probably wins, but that was such a peculiar and high-level ZVZ that I really don't know how to break it down, if that makes sense. I mean, it was just a really odd game that I feel you could only really see on post-youth of all maps.
Yeah, it's like we saw that game, and we're probably not going to have that map again, and that's it.
Yeah.
It was weird, and I guess we're not going to be exploring it further.
I like the idea of Rogue there, a little bit out of the box, just 6 drones to the natural, only on the gold bases, going for 2 hatch mutaplay.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to go to Golden Aura here for map number 2. Let's get this going. Rogue vs. Dark, continuing on.
Let's get ready to rumble, rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. You looking for trouble? Let's get ready to rumble, rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Tell them it's going down now.
Right, Rogue, the blue Zerg down in the bottom right, Dark, the red Zerg in the top left. And just to go back to that previous game, I wish we could, just for the sake of my curiosity, I wish we could like go back and resume from replay before that final engagement and have Rogue just focus on the third base and just shut that down with a superior lane count and play the game from there, because I don't think he had to commit quite so hard into trying to break down the main.
Should be proud of themselves. This is a very good and very supportive message here.
Yeah,
This
this audience in general
we
has
should
been
actually
really
give
cool.
all the players trophies. This is what we should do.
Taser just walks down on the main stage like Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
There's a trophy hidden
I
under
also
everybody's
get a trophy.
seat.
I get to win a GSL like everybody else.
Everybody also watching online, guys, you just give us your addresses. We promise
we'll
we
make
won't.
you a trophy.
We
Everybody's
promise
a winner.
we won't leak it
You
online.
can have 1 more code S's than Maru if you want.
But this audience has been so supportive in general. I
This
feel like
is
this
a great
is
audience tonight.
I feel like this is the first audience that I've seen in a while where after it feels like almost every single match, like you guys don't get to see it because we go to break, but all the audience members clap for the players.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
actually quite
It's kind of nice.
It's quite nice, yeah. It's beautiful, especially with Rogue coming back from military service, man.
Yeah.
I want the audience to kind of light a fire under him, you know? It's so cool to have him back. Just good vibes here, Tastes the GSL.
Yeah. It feels good, man. It feels nice. Some great games tonight as well.
I feel like every series is delivered in at least some regard, too.
Yeah, I'm curious about this next game because, like, I can't really make heads or tail, excuse me, of Rogue's play back there.
Yeah, post-youth is probably the worst possible map to determine
I'm
where
sure,
Rogue
like,
is at
that
in
was-
CBC.
I do feel like looking back at the game, it might have been better if he just sent all of his lings and tried to go up into the main instead of killing the third.
But I don't think you can really... Yeah, I don't know.
There's Evo Chambers there, so, like, I don't know.
It's hard.
It
It's
just
very
seemed
hard
odd
to
in a mirror
say.
matchup to go for that.
I mean, it's the kind of situation where us two as casters who probably aren't playing much
don't play Zerg,
or
yeah.
watching people play on post-youth even in a tournament setting, because it just gets vetoed in like basically every series.
Yeah. Well, this is a funny thing because, you know, when you cast a tournament, there's a lot of maps you just get really used to seeing, and you start to know like the back of your hand. And then there's like those maps that everybody vetoes, and when you're on there, you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute. It's gonna be my first time casting this matchup on this map.
Even Golden Aura is one of these maps that in the previous patch I felt like we saw quite often, and so although we're not seeing it quite as much here in Season 2 of GSL or in the later part of Season 1 of GSL, previously, we all just kind of have a really good read on where this map is. Plus, it's a map that you see a lot in international tournaments, you see it a lot on ladder. Like, it's one of the most played maps to this date in the last couple of months, but something like Post-Youth is just so out of the box. So I do wonder how this game's going to go. As it is right now, almost completely mirrored in terms of unit setups there. Bailing Nest also, very similar timings. Metabolic Boost, Zergling Speed going to finish at almost the exact same moment here, as both players are just kind of doing the same thing. And Macro ZBZ building up at 3 bases. Nothing too crazy to start things out. We're going to be throwing the Roach Warren down here at the natural expansion, going for a nice queen-size wall at his ramp. And looking at the minimap, it seems like Dark is doing the same thing on his side of the map. Nice pick off there with a couple of links, getting that creep tumor. Usually, queen energy, very precious at the early game in ZBZ, especially in a situation like this where Rogue is only playing with 2 queens. His third queen is only just now coming out. So.
Yeah.
25 energy might not seem like a lot, but trust me, to these guys in the box, it does feel like a lot on stage.
So it's going to be 3 bases on both sides. We don't see a big plume of lings coming up yet. Because, you know, you're always going to get the Roach War, and you're always going to have, like, a Baneling's Nest, but that doesn't mean it is for an attack. You can have that just so that you have the tools to defend your base. We now have Roaches being made here for Rogue. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen here with Dark.
I feel like we're just not going to see that plume of lings until it comes to reinforce a huge flood of Roaches across
after
the
the
map.
Roaches have been made.
Yeah, they're just the unit that you reinforce with the Zord because they train so quickly and they move so quickly across the map that usually they converge with the attacking army.
You basically make them to tank, and then the roaches stay in the back and keep doing damage.
Well, Evolution Chamber not getting thrown down for Dark as well as a lair. Rogue still sitting on Hatch Tech, 41 drones, pumping roaches. I wonder if he is going to just hunker down. I've been saying hunker down too much today. I wonder if he's just going to commit to this early push because there isn't really a lot of tech coming his way so far, and only 40 drones. Another gas coming in here for Rogue. Keep in mind, still no lair, still no upgrades. Dark is starting +1 range weapons. And Ling's now in production here for Rogue. He might just start pushing it.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be a timing attack from Rogue.
It's going to be go time here for Rogue. So the question is now, can Dark actually hold this?
Five more drones in production for Dark, by the way.
There are overlords everywhere to see this. As far as I can tell, there's no angle to come at where you're going to surprise him with the attack. Even the Queen's driving the overlords out could be enough to, oh, excuse me, that's actually Dark driving Rogue's overlords. I switched the races for a second. But, even attacking that could be something that would tell you that, there's an attack coming. So here he comes. He's moving out now.
It's time to go.
And Dark should see this.
Yeah, Dark knows. Spiraling Crawler's getting thrown down, but did Dark play this a little bit too greedy? He was going for double gas, already on 55 drones. Lair Tech coming in, +1 range weapon, should not finish in time for it to really matter.
A lot of Banes here, but he could plug up the entrance entirely with roaches, which would make the Banelings a lot less effective. The Spines are going to finish here, but it seems like the soft spot's actually up where the Roach Horn and the Banelings nest are.
Yeah, I think that's what you hit here as Rogue. You try and take down that production as now the engagement comes through. Banelings in and try and find the connections. Not really getting the best things to start off here for Rogue as he's going to slowly inch forward. Actually, the Ling's not really able to connect in the front line as Rogue finally gives way for them. That Baneling connection going to be pretty good there in the front, getting a lot of splash damage on these roaches. Standing army supply is better for Rogue right now, but the Spine Crawlers might just be enough, Tasteless.
I mean, I think he just holds. I think that Dark just knows exactly, how much to make, even with Rogue going around and hitting it at a different angle. I mean, this is it, GG. Dark with an easy peasy 2-0. We were right, State. Short and sweet.
Yeah, and those are some nice games played there by Dark. Just seems to know exactly what he has to do to defend. For Rogue, probably a little bit bittersweet qualifying now for GSL Code S and then getting taken out 2-1 versus Cure and 2-0 versus Dark. But I mean, considering this guy just came back from the military service, I'm feeling pretty good about seeing him back in this one. You can even see Dark coming in and then talking about the matches.
Man, yeah. It was, it's fun to have Rogue back, and I want to see, in the next couple of years of StarCraft 2, how he's going to fare. It's kind of nice when you're a pro and you finally have that military service out of the way, right?
Yeah, and this is just the beginning for Rogue coming back in. I mean, hasn't had a lot of time to train back for GSL, but believe me, we're going to be seeing more from Rogue in the future. Guys, final match coming up after this break. Stats versus Dark, one of these gamers heading to the round of 8 alongside Cure. We'll see you soon.
Look at all these faces, I guess we just contagious. Tell my mom we made it, we made it. Look at all these places, look at all... Right now.
Tell me who you are, get in the car.
Right now.
Reach for the stars, I want it all.
Right now.
Tell me who you are, get in the car.
Right now.
Reach for the stars, I want it all.
God, I'm low. God, my soul. All of my thoughts be dark like coal. Face down in the water, I float. I try to speak my mind, but I choke. I'm on the tightrope. Tired, I can't cope. No lying, no hope. The lying might show. Up to the party, y'all don't want smoke. Energize the body, raise up the army. Right now, tell me who you are, get in the car. Right now, reach for the stars, I want it all. Right now, tell me who you are, get in the car. Right now, reach for the stars, I want it all. Right now, tell me who you are, get in the car. Right now, reach for the stars, I want it all. Right now, just into the car, fighting a war. Right now, we shitting with y'all, I'm in the store. Right, put your feet on the ground, look around. It's the siege and we back in your town, burning it down. You've been waiting too long for the sound. Time is now, got you hanging on every single word, verb and now. Give you what you been waiting for now, what you praying for. This the type of we slaving for. Get you another hit, I know you craving more. I'm in this, but they go Super Saiyan boy. I am a higher being, whole world at my command. I got the whole damn planet here in the palm of my hand. Back out, wait up, my wake up, stay up. They gon' get it, they gon' take us. Raise up, we got color, they try and gray us. You are not listening to the greatest. Right now.